Greetings to all truth seekers, spiritual people, and lovely souls. I hope you have a good day, a glorious day, a prosperous day. Our next meeting for the truth seekers this month is 14 February on Valentine's Day. Once again, we will hold the meeting at the Theosophical Society in Johannesburg at 31 Streatley Avenue, Auckland Park. All welcome. The title of our talk is Agenda 2030, the End of Freedom. By 2030, all of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals will be implemented. If there's any hope for humanity's freedom, we must object to the UN's diabolical goals now. The Orwellian nightmare of a digital dystopia is upon us. Most people remain oblivious to the impending dystopian era that will engulf the planet. The creeping dread that awaits us is beyond imagination. The structural collapse of traditional norms and the ultimate loss of all freedoms on all levels is imminent. We will watch a thought-provoking documentary called The Agenda, Their Vision, Your Future that came out in 2025 last year and was directed by Sharman. We will watch this documentary and then discuss the various topics it covers. This documentary is going to be about the digital prison that awaits us if we don't push back now. It's all about how our food, our energy, our money, our ability to travel, our ability to use the internet access will all be limited and controlled by the cabal. This documentary goes into how financial power is strangling democracy, how global institutions like the World Health Organization are commandeered to champion ideological and fiscal objectives. The centerpiece is a fake man-made climate change and the race to what they call net zero. Both are encapsulated in the United Nations and its Agenda 2030. Is it a force for good or a blank check for totalitarian global control? No money means no choice. We will talk about the cabal's master plan, the Davos dynasty, the World Economic Forum, the digital ID that's coming. Everyone's talking about the digital ID. Everything's going digital. Digital money, digital persons, digital world, digital walls. All this equals a digital prison. We'll also talk about environmental, social, and governance, the ESG, which is very much on people's minds and are being discussed. If you want to hear more about ESG, go to the Redacted YouTube channel called Redacted. They will tell you all about the ESG. It's all about government's interference into private business. We'll also talk about from farmer to farmer. They're trying to do away with natural foods. They don't want farms anymore. They don't want cows in the field. What they want is to print food with these printing machines. Food will come out of a factory and not from a farm in the future. We'll also talk about the fact that mainstream media is very much the broadcaster of all this new world order rubbish. They control the narrative, and we'll go into mainstream media and how it controls the narrative. Also, we'll look at social impact investment. Social impact investment is all about the used children or the data collected from children as a commodity, and they use that data to trade with on the American stock market. So we'll look into social impact investment, the collecting of data. Also, public-private partnerships, which has a lot to do with the ESG, and then also artificial intelligence. Just like digital ID, artificial intelligence is on everyone's minds. Everyone is talking about it. And a company we must look at and be warned about and pay special attention to that's linked to Elon Musk, and that is Palantir. Palantir Technologies. They involved with electronic surveillance. They involved with this digital footprints, collecting of data of every human being on the planet. Palantir Technologies is heading that up. And President Trump is not innocent in all this. He's very much in the center of everything, and Trump is pushing for digital ID, and Trump is pushing for this system that's coming, this cashless society that's coming. We'll also look at the Gates Foundation, the Trilateral Commission, the Club of Rome. All these organizations are what run the world. And the 13 families run the world through these organizations and these secret societies that are not based on government, organizations that are not democratically elected by the people. They are simply private organizations that have such an important say in controlling our lives. The Bilderberg Group is another one. In fact, before there was a World Economic Forum, there was a Bilderberg Group. And then also the Council of Foreign Relations. We'll have a look at that as well. The documentary starts off with this quote from the book Brave New World that was written by Aldous Huxley. The prophecies made, Huxley says, in 1931 are coming true much sooner than I thought they would. The nightmare of total organization has emerged and is now awaiting us just around the next corner. In other words, centralized government controlling the entire planet, controlling every trivial detail of our lives. They want to do this because they have this insatiable hunger for power and control. It gives them a high if they can control the masses. Yuval Noah Harari, by the way, not a nice guy, but he's written many books. The book I've read is Homo Deus, Man Becoming God Through the Use of AI, Artificial Intelligence. Yuval Noah Harari, the professor from the Jerusalem University, is all over the media now, all over YouTube, and he's pushing AI. I don't know what he's trying to do. Is he trying to warn us about AI, but at the same time push AI? But anyway, AI, according to him, is the new God. And he says you will not survive without AI. He talks about brain-computer interfaces. We're all going to have these brain-computer interfaces, and we're all going to be linked like a hive mind to each other. You see, in the future, you won't need computers. You won't need cell phone. Everything's going to be inside our bodies. And so we will look up, if you want to do a search on Google, you do it in your mind now, because we're all linked to the internet. We're all linked to the cloud, and they're going to put this thing in our brains, nanotechnology, to link us to the internet. This is the new human. This is the human 2.0 that they're talking about. So us oldies, the olden people, are not going to have a place in this new, beautiful, electronic, artificial world that they're busy creating. If you don't join them, you won't be able to survive. You will not survive if not connected. Yuval says with the rise of brain-computer interfaces and biometric sensors and so forth, all the bodies, all the brains would be connected together to a network. And you won't be able to survive if you are disconnected from the net. That's the future. We already have a taste of that now, because we cannot survive without our cell phones. We cannot survive without our cell phones. That's how dependent we have become on cell phone technology. Now, the next step in the cell phone evolution is to put the cell phone inside our brains. Think of a cell phone inside your head. That's what's going to happen. And if you don't opt for this new thing, you won't be able to survive in the new world that is coming. You won't be able to survive if you are disconnected from the net. Disconnected from the net. Another great antagonist and enemy of mankind is this gentleman, Klaus Schwab. He wrote a book called The Great Reset, and he talks about transhumanism, what humans are going to become in the future. So Klaus Schwab is like Blofeld, Ernest Stavro Blofeld. He's the James Bond villain. He just put a cat on his lap and that's exactly who he is. All life on earth, Klaus Schwab says, is going to be radically changed in his German accent. It's a fusion of the physical, the digital, and the biological world. A fusion of the physical, the digital, and the biological world. It's changing who we are, Klaus Schwab says. The head of Spectre in the James Bond movies. Once the digital ID is in place, it is game over for humanity. That's what they're waiting for. That's what these globalists are waiting for. They're waiting for two things. The digital ID to become compulsory in all the countries of the world, and with that, their digital money, the cashless society. Do away with cash and everything becomes digital. Once that happens, they will have absolute control over us. We will enter into a dystopia that Huxley and the author of 1984, George Orwell, could not even have imagined. That's how bad it's going to be. We are going to enter into the darkest time. The Dark Ages is nothing compared to what's coming if digital ID hits this world and becomes compulsory for us. And yet most people are totally oblivious to this. People go around shopping, living their lives, totally unaware of how dangerous the digital ID is. With digital ID comes the whole social credit nonsense, and it's tied to your carbon footprint. So if you misbehave in any way, if you eat too much meat, if you talk against the government, if you talk against the World Economic Forum, access to the internet will be cut off. And all these mechanisms will be controlled, and the penal system, the way they unlock and lock things for us, even our travel, Uber will be tied to this digital ID. If you misbehave, they can lock your privileges, even lock your takeaway foods, lock your ability to travel. They don't want you to own anything. You're not allowed to own anything. You can't own your own house. You can't own your own car. You will be totally reliant on the system. And if you misbehave, the system will be cut off. The privileges will be cut off. In the documentary, they talk about technocracy. Technocracy is a robotic government. A government run by AI is the best way to describe technocracy. AI will be your government. A technocratic government is a system where decision-making power rests with experts, with the technocrats. So it's a meritorious system. The guys in charge are the scientists, and the engineers are in control of everything. It's computer geeks that run the world in a technocratic society. A technocratic government is a system where decision-making power rests with experts, selected for their specialized scientific or technical knowledge, rather than traditional politicians elected on popularity. Technocracy focuses on data-driven, efficient solutions to complex problems. You see, we can't fix the problems of the world. A human government can't fix the problems of the world. But guess who can? AI. Because AI knows us so well, so intimately, and because AI is so clever and knows everything, not only will it be our government, the best government we could ever have, it will also become our God. AI will become a God to us that people will worship and bow down to. That's how bad it's going to get. Technocracy is the science of social engineering, the scientific operation of the entire social mechanism to produce and distribute goods and services to the entire population. Logistics will be run by AI. Your moms and pops cafe, the little Portuguese cafe on the side of the road at the corner of your suburb, will no longer exist. The only places that will exist is Walmart, Take-A-Lot, the big stores. And you won't go in. Shopping malls will become a thing of the past. We're not going to go into a shop and do shopping anymore. Everything is going to be done online. And so they decide if you are worthy enough to have products. If AI deems you worthy enough to have a TV, then you can buy a TV. If AI deems you worthy enough to have a laptop, then you can have a laptop. Your freedom, your power to buy is gone because you don't have cash anymore. It's all done by the digital money that's coming. And remember, money, the digital money is also what they call programmable money. In other words, with this universal basic income that's coming, you'll be given a salary, just like in Monopoly. You'll be given 2,000 Rand a month. The government's going to give you 2,000 Rand a month. And then you can play the Monopoly game. You can go shopping and do all your stuff, all online now, of course. And then the only catch is you can't save the 2,000 Rand. You can't take that 2,000 Rand and put it in a bank and save it. That cannot happen. You have to. You are forced to spend the money. Because come the end of the month, all that happens is if there's any money left over, the AI system takes the money out of your account and gives you a new 2,000 Rand to start your new month Monopoly game. That's what's called programmable money. And then with programmable money, you can be locked out. You can go into Woolworths and you can buy milk and you can buy bread, but you can't buy meat. The system will lock you out from buying meat because it knows exactly what you buy at Woolworths. This is the power of the digital ID and the digital money that is coming into the world. Nick Hudson, South African local guy, he's very involved in Old Mutual and banking and investment, that sort of stuff. He's an actuary. It seems to me that there's a very strong drift in the direction of globalization, of the ultimate centralization of control, just like Huxley said, centralized control in the hands of unelected officials at supranational organizations, BlackRock, Goldman & Sachs, people like that. The lust to control other human beings is a story as old as time. They want all of the resources of the world in their pocket. They do not want you and me to have anything. And this is all over. This is written in their documents. Just go to the World Economic Forum website and you will read all this control aspects of the World Economic Forum. So another lady which I find extremely interesting is Catherine Austin Fitts. She used to be involved in central banking. When this lady talks, you must listen. This lady talks sense. This lady's like a prophetess. Tells us exactly what's going to happen and what these psychopaths have got in store for us. When Catherine Austin Fitts talks, please listen because she talks a lot of truth. The global takeover talks about the psychopathic elite and their goal, the acquisition of humanity. Catherine says people with empathy cannot fathom that a group of people would organize and engineer the kind of mass atrocity to get where they want to go. People with empathy can't fathom that a group of people, the cabal, would organize and engineer this kind of mass atrocity just to get where they want to go. They will step on you. They will walk all over you just to get where they want to go. That's what happens when you become drunk with power. When you become drunk with power, you lose all your empathy, you lose all your compassion, you become psychopathic, and killing another human being, destroying another human being means nothing to these people. They just want what they want, and that is absolute control. With digital ID in the background, the mechanism that controls digital ID, the mechanisms that control the cashless society that's coming is blockchain. Now, what is blockchain? Blockchain is a permanent public record, a computer digitized ledger that is immutable. In other words, it cannot be erased. It cannot be deleted. Once you do a transaction, in fact, Bitcoin and the digital money already that's worked runs on blockchain. Information stored, and it's stored in a decentralized manner. Very, very difficult to hack, very, very difficult to cheat the system. Blockchain is very powerful. They say after the internet, blockchain is the most important discovery in the digital world. Blockchain is a new system of accounting that will eradicate the traditional system of money. Blockchain is a digital ledger system that will keep a perfect record of every transaction that happens in the economy. Think of that. Every transaction, when you buy bread, when you go onto the internet and you buy your groceries, all that information is now stored. They can, at a glance, look at our spending habits, see what we're spending money on, what we're not spending money on. It's all about data collection. Data collection is the new gold. Companies want your data. Why do you think when you go to Checkers, they give you a card and they give you discounts if you have the card? What is that card all about? The card is collecting data on you to give to AI, so that AI knows who you are. Remember, AI is building a straw man, a digital person of you in cyberspace. And every time you go onto the net, every time you surf the web, every time you buy products, all that information is being taken in by AI, putting flesh on your straw man so that it can know who you are. And it can even do prescriptive algorithms on you. So it will know, it can extrapolate where you'll be going in the future. If you are the way you are now, AI will be able to work out, predict how you would be in 10 years' time from now. So that is why data collection is so important to this whole system. Be careful how much of your personal information you give to AI, because it will turn around and use it against you in the future. AI will have a permanent record of your entire financial history. So Catherine Austin Fitz also says this, the new control grid, end of money. She says we are shifting to a new financial system, but the general population is not shifting to a new financial system. The general population is shifting to a control grid. The old ways of freedom is gone. The control grid is coming. They're saying we can control with rules. In the past, the cabal used to control us with money. Now, with the digital system and with the internet, they will be able to control us with rules. We don't need currency anymore. And so it's no longer a financial system or a currency system. It's purely a digital concentration camp. And remember those words, digital concentration camp. It looks so wonderful. AI looks so wonderful today. With ChatGPT, you could go on, you can ask ChatGPT questions. It'll tell you anything. It draws pictures for you. It designs your websites. It controls your finances and it can do accountancy. ChatGPT can do all these wonderful things. But the flip side is also true. If AI can do all these wonderful things, just imagine what it can also do. It can also enslave you. It can also turn your life into a nightmare. Remember, there's always a flip side to the coin. AI is extremely powerful and extremely helpful for humanity. But what is the flip side? That is what we must be careful of. It's purely a digital concentration camp. It's a slavery system. The new financial system is a slavery system. Social impact investing. What is social impact investing? Social impact investing is tied to the environmental social governance. And what it actually is the exploitation of children. Our children are being exploited by corporations like BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, and Bain Capital. These companies collect data from children, including biometrics, and make money by investing in them. They use predictive algorithms to collect demographic data and extrapolate future outcomes, such as whether a child will become a computer scientist or environmental engineer. In these smart schools, in the smart cities, they are busy collecting data on children. Surveillance is being done on children, even at kindergarten level. There's these play tables that they have. In the documentary you will see them. And the play table, it's a digital display table. The children play on it and interact with things on the table. But at the same time, there are cameras built into the table. And these cameras are looking at the children's faces and collecting data from the children. They call this practice social impact investing. And this is a term that we should be very wary of. If you hear the term social impact investing, listen very carefully. Children are now treated as commodities, and their data is traded on Wall Street in real time. These companies can even bet on groups of kids whether they'll be successful or not. They're not just collecting data, they're also changing children's behavior through IT, social interaction, promoting this diversity, equity, and inclusivity protocols. The DEI. It's the American version of our BEE nonsense. Diversity, equity, and inclusivity protocols. So the cows, shame, the poor cows. Bill Gates says that they are emitting carbon dioxide and we need to get rid of cows. Global takeover is going after cows. Global takeover is going after our food, our energy, and our money. The fact that we have this health crisis in South Africa with the foot and mouth disease is not just coincidental. This is the United Nations. This is the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. They're behind the foot and mouth disease. They don't want us to eat protein for some reason. They want to control the amount of protein we consume. What is this about that they want to feed us insects and they don't want us to eat protein? What is this all about? Of course, the elite will eat meat. They will go to restaurants and eat meat. But us common people are not allowed to eat meat. The plan is to commandeer land, reduce farming, and radically change the food we eat. They want to change our diet. They want to transform the supply of electricity. We're not going to have a coal-based electrical system. We're going to have a renewable energy system in the future. And that's where all these solar panels and all this is happening. They want to dictate to us how we use it, how we use our electricity. Trump is very right in saying that only stupid people buy windmills, these windmills that generate electricity. The people that make them in China or Japan, they don't use them. You don't see those windmills, but they sell them to the stupid people in Europe that use them. They are more of an energy drain than what the coal system, when you've taken everything into consideration. There is nothing good about renewable energy. You cannot run a country like South Africa on windmills and solar panels. Coal is necessary. You need coal. Coal or nuclear, but coal is better, cheaper. And also they want to replace currency with a system of credits under their control. So it's an attack on the food, an attack on energy, and an attack on our monetary system. And this is ABC 101, how you destroy a country in a war situation. It's a classic template to win a war. Take control of the food, take control of the energy, and take control of the money. So we are literally at war with the globalists. That's what it comes down to. Us, the people, are at war with the globalists. The globalists pointed their rifles at us. This is a war. There's a war going on. All three strategies are built on the premise of a fake climate crisis caused by CO2. That's the selling point. They're selling this, we need to change our food, we need to change our energy, we need to change our money because of the climate crisis that doesn't even exist. The fake climate crisis in the world. That's why we need to do all these things. That's why we have to build a prison around us, because of the climate crisis and the whole carbon dioxide nonsense that they're talking about. Another gentleman that speaks up against the United Nations and their Sustainable Development Goals is this gentleman. He talks about Orwellian doublespeak and how the United Nations, everything they say is the opposite. Everything the United Nations says is the opposite. It's the occultic principle of inversion. It's the Orwellian doublespeak. Alex Newman. This is Alex Newman, a journalist. The UN is riddled with contradictions. Whatever the UN claims, the opposite is invariably the truth. When they talk about peacekeeping forces, the UN's got its own army. They call them peacekeeping forces. What they're actually talking about is the war-making capabilities of the UN. When they talk about transparency, they're actually talking about eliminating your privacy. When they talk about human rights, they actually mean no human rights at all. Your rights can be restricted under the guise of public order or morality or whatever the case may be. So they talk about human rights, but there are no human rights. They talk about gender equality. Gender equality is nothing what you think gender equality is. It's not what you think it is. It's actually about the eradication of the family unit entirely. Get rid of mommy, daddy, and children. That structure, that family unit. Just like in communism. Communism is all about destroying the family unit. The next lady, Whitney Webb. Whenever Whitney Webb comes up, I always listen to Whitney Webb. Also, when she speaks, you must listen. Also a journalist that speaks a lot of sense. She's very clued up on the digital ID, very clued up on Elon Musk's stuff, and very clued up on the whole Palantir technologies and what's happening. She also talks about this turning the environment into a commodity. Please listen to Whitney Webb. Very, very important what she says. She talks about natural asset companies, which is the exploitation of nature. The only green is money in these people's minds. These people, the cabal, are not interested in saving the planet. They don't care about the giraffe in the Kruger National Park. They don't care about the rhinoceros. That's not what they're interested in. What they are interested in is money, making money, and they're using nature as an excuse to make money. She says they identify the asset and then issue shares in that asset, talking about the natural environment, out of thin air, essentially, and they can sell it to financial institutions, asset managers, sovereign wealth funds, and then they go public and have an IPO. It's similar to, you had this thing where you can pick a star. You look at the stars at night and you pick out a star. And then you can buy that star and name that star. And they use this as a form of making money. Exactly the same is happening now with these financial and corporate companies. They are turning natural assets into wealth. The funding is then, they say, meant to preserve the natural asset. But elsewhere they say that their main purpose, like so much else, is to generate profit for shareholders. It has nothing to do with the preserving of the environment. That is literally just the talking point they think will stick and sell. They say we're all in it together. We've got to save the planet. So let's allow the bankers to create a new racket that makes the natural world collateral. So just like the exploitation of children with the social impact investment, here again, natural asset companies are formed to generate income by using nature as an excuse. Everything in nature is to be traded on financial markets, setting a value on the land we walk and on the air we breathe. The future in people's minds like Bill Gates is where nature is subjected to their will. They want to inject nanobots. They want to change nature on a genetic level. They want to genetically alter nature so that nature is under their control, subjugated to them. So every blade of grass, not only are they going to monitor humans, they're going to monitor animals. They're going to surveil insects. AI is going to control the movement of nature. The growth of nature is going to come under AI control. That is their dream, the subduing of nature.
Chateau Picard, the best wine in the galaxy. Bye-bye. Live long. Live long.